Yes, I'd like to check the status of a police report number.
Status of a police report number?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of report?
Child abuse.
Oh, I mean, you need to see if it's assigned to a detective, or what are you trying to find out?
Can I give you the information and you can see what you can give me on it?
I mean, on child abuse, I probably wouldn't be able to give anything out. I mean, you have to probably talk to the detectives assigned if they've gotten a hold of you.
Okay, well, I haven't given you the report number.
Well, I'm just saying, the nature of it being a child abuse case, we generally don't give information out, especially over the phone.
Okay, what's your name?
Senior Corporal De La Rocha.
I'm sorry?
Senior Corporal De La Rocha.
Okay, and your badge number?
9662.
Okay, well, the reason the problem of it is because police have been covering for child abuse for years for my daughter, and I'm very unhappy about it. I think it's really sick and disgusting. So can I please don't interrupt me because I'm reporting child abuse. I'm reporting child abuse. Please don't interrupt me. She's 12 and it's a felony to cover for child abuse.
Okay, well, I'm not covering, but I don't know who you are over the phone, ma'am.
Okay, well, if you let me finish talking, then that would aid in the help. And then police not tampering with evidence and covering for crimes would also aid. The problem of it is that she said that she got hit and no one has responded. And then I went to the police department, and for years, police have covered for the abuse for years. And I'm ready for people to get their charges. I think it's sick. Okay, I don't have access to my daughter because of the crimes that police department keeps making.
If you'd like, I can give you the phone number for the child abuse department, and the detective can get back to you.
Well, why haven't they already called and I'm reporting child abuse? Why have they been covering for it for years?
When did you file the report?
I filed it at 2 or 3 o'clock this morning.
Well, if it was just filed this morning.
Well, why haven't they called to see what was going on? It's child abuse.
Ma'am, if you just filed a report this morning, it enters the system today. Once the report's approved, it gets sent to the department, and then which they most likely won't get until tomorrow, and then they'll assign it to the detective. So a detective probably won't even get on his desk until tomorrow.
Okay, well, she's changing it now, and her story doesn't sound right. And before, when her stepmom said that she was going to give her away to CPS, then their story changed again.
Okay. So let me give you the number for child abuse, and that way you're not calling around looking for somewhere. That's where it would go. So let me see if I can get that number for you, okay, if you don't mind holding.
Yes.
Okay, it's 214.
Okay.
275. Sorry, 214-275-1300.
And what's the number? What is this number to?
That's the child abuse. That's the office where all the detectives work that investigate child abuse.
Okay. Do you know why police are denying me the right to report that there was corruption that were hindering my child custody rights? That I thought that was a crime, tampering with evidence for years. I thought police. I can't. I'm trying to get education on. I don't know why so many police tamper with evidence. I'm just trying to get education on why they refuse to report the corruption behind the caseworker that lied. I thought that was a crime.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, you're a police. I don't know who to report crimes to because the police I keep running in contact with keep committing crimes. So I would like to know why so many police. I cannot ask the question, sir. Are you tampering with evidence and preventing me?
You would need to go and talk to our internal affairs for something like that. I am not equipped, nor do I investigate that type of thing.
Well, first off, it could end if someone were to do their job and start doing the reports and investigation. But here's the thing: people keep referring me to internal affairs because they're not wanting to do investigation for the crimes. They know They know internal affairs is covering for the criminal activity. So they keep referring me to internal affairs while they tamper with evidence and cover for crimes. It's a revolving circle that keeps going around for years. So instead of a police not committing a crime and taking a report and doing an investigation, they all just still commit crimes and tamper with evidence and not do investigations and then refer me back to internal affairs for cover-up. So what I want to know is, when will it end? When will police stop trying to tamper with evidence and lie and deny me investigation when they should be investigating the lies from the corrupt caseworker and the fake CPS worker that was calling me, harassing me?
Yeah.
Why are they lying, and why are so many parties lying to keep me away from my daughter?
See, caseworkers, that's another government agency.
No, what I'm reporting is there's a multitude of people for profit that are keeping me away from my daughter. It is easily provable that this man has made false statements. It's easily provable that other parties have made false statements with the restraining order and all that chaos. It's easily provable, but there's too many parties covering for it. Why are so many parties risking a felony to keep me away from my child?
Well, I don't know how to help.
Okay, well, we can end it right now. Stop committing crimes. I want to report the criminal activity going on to hinder my child custody rights. It's a felony. Why are people risking their livelihood? So many people I'm trying to it's simple. Just stop committing crimes. Just stop it. Give someone to take the report of the criminal activity. Stop the cover up. It's simple. We don't need to go to internal affairs if people stop committing crimes. Just right now, stop committing a crime, take the report, and do an investigation. It's simple. Why do so many people risk a felony?
I can't take a report over the phone now.
Okay, well, get someone that's not corrupt, that's not committing crimes. It's simple. Just end it. Investigate the man that made the false statements. Investigate why they did a restraining order on slander. Investigate why so many parties are risking felonies to keep me away from my daughter. Why are so many people tampering with evidence, risking felonies to cover up for the stalker that don't exist? That's a felony that they're risking their livelihood covering up for years. Why would people at the Texas Rangers sit there and witness me get to false arrest, risking their livelihood for crimes? What is making these people behave in this manner? Why would you risk a felony?
I don't know how to answer your question.
I don't know why so many parties, the caseworker from CPS, risk a felony, why multiple police keep on risking felonies, why people deny me law enforcement openly for years. So I have to live the rest of my life knowing I can't report crimes to the police department because all they do is cover. They haven't called my daughter or made any calls, and she's 12. Now she has told me that someone hit her with a backpack at school. Her story don't even make sense. But if someone were to call, they can investigate it. She said a friend did it.
So you're telling me what you're trying to call her for is an assault that occurred at her school?
I don't know what the truth is. That's what I want the police to investigate and see. Because she also had, I'm trying to give you more evidence. She also said, they had also said that they were going to give her away to CPS. She sent me texts. I tried to show it to the police, but they were too busy covering for it. They said that they were going to have CPS pick her up. Then the story changed. The police were too criminal to even take a report because they wanted to make sure for profit that she was nowhere near me. Like multiple parties commit felonies and crimes to make sure I don't have access to my daughter through criminal activity.
What school does she go to, ma'am?
I'm not allowed to access. The custody agreement is violated. I don't have access to go. She's in sports. I can't go to that. I can barely talk to her on the phone for corruption, and all you guys keep doing is covering for it. As well as all the other parties I come in contact with, which is why I don't want to understand why people would risk felonies to keep me away from my daughter. What is that desirable to commit crimes to a stranger to keep them away from their child?
Unfortunately, I don't know you or your daughter.
Okay, well, if you don't know it, then we can end it today. Find someone that is not risking a felony, covering for the child abuse, covering for the state worker that made false statements, covering for the stepmom or whoever that made the false statements to the court. Those are crimes that the police should be investigating, but they're not. That's a crime.
Do you have any other questions that I can help you with today? I can't do any of that for you, especially not over the phone.
Okay, well, here's the thing. We need to figure out why people are committing crimes, covering up for it. It can be ended today if all these police were risking felonies to keep me away from my child. We can end it today. Why are so many police all over the place violating my right, risking a felony to keep me away from my daughter? Why would they risk felonies to not take reports of this stalker that don't exist? Why would they come in and interrupt me having cell phone service and tamper with evidence and reports?
I can answer those questions for you.
Okay, well, these are crimes. These are crimes that I want to report. I don't feel safe with police covering for crimes for all these years. I can't report anything to the police. All they do is lie, slander in the reports, and cover up and deny investigation. I can't go anywhere. Multiple organizations deny me services for cover up. I called domestic violence organizations. Then they call me back later and deny services. I was put out reporting my abuser while I was gone. My stuff was outside. Arrested at August 1st at the Texas Rangers reporting crimes, and the police intervened in that. Intervened in protection orders. I want to know why so many people all over the place are risking felonies to keep me violated.
I guess I can answer that question.
Okay, well, how I want it to end. I want to be a normal citizen and feel safe. I don't want police covering for everything that I experience in my daughter's abuse. Now her story has changed. I don't know what the truth is, and the police won't even call me back to figure out what's going on. They should have had someone call her today if she was assaulted. You don't leave a child in that all this time. Someone should have called and investigated immediately to see what was going on. I don't know what the truth is because the stories keep changing, like when the stepmom said they were going to give her the CPS, and the police wouldn't take the report of that or do an investigation for that.
Well, like I said, what school does she go to?
Like I said, police and multiple parties have been doing a lot of committing crimes to keep me away from my daughter. I don't know.
Well,
I want to figure out why so many people are risking felonies to keep me away from my child.
Well, I can answer that question for you. So,
well, if you this is the police department, who do I report the crimes to? Because you're supposed to be taking the crime. Why are you not doing it? Why are so many people tampering with evidence and risking a felony to keep me away from my child? That's not what police are supposed to do. They're supposed to be taking the evidence and doing an investigation and not lying and saying it's civil when someone's committing crimes, did a restraining order on criminal activity, and they're guarding it and protecting it and enforcing it to keep me away from my child, which is a felony.
So who do they say has custody of your child then?
For multiple parties have made false statements and aided and hindered on the child custody agreement.
Well,
First, it was James Hastings.
And I understand that you disagree with all that.
Well, no, you're misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding. It's easily, readily a blatant lie that any investigator can see. They did not follow protocol, took my child custody rights away on slander, and lied in administrative review. I don't know why police keep interrupting the evidence, which is a felony.
Like I said, I understand that you disagree with whatever decision they made, but who have they decided has custody of her?
It's not that I just disagree. Criminal activity has my child taken away from me in an environment that I'm not sure is the safest for her. What you are bypassing in all the multiple parties that risk the felony is that people have lied and committed crimes to keep me away from my child. What I want to know is for years, why is this allowed to go on with a whole YouTube channel and people are still risking felonies all over the place to keep me away from my daughter? Why in the world would they cover for 11, at the time 8, getting violated, and then at the earliest...
I can't answer these questions over the phone, man. You'd have to come into the office and talk to us. And if you're...
Well, here's the thing. I've already talked to someone at the Texas Rangers and was arrested. I already talked to someone June 20th of 2019 and was detained on false claims. What I want to know is why someone would risk their livelihood and commit crimes and felonies to keep me away from my child. Why are so many people tampering with evidence, which is a felony? And how long are you going to continue to get away with it?
If you're in Dallas County, I would tell you directly to probably ask the DA. The district attorney should be able to ask.
The DA was covering for it. The multiple false arrests, they wouldn't even let me go to court. They're so corrupt. I've never heard of a person that wasn't allowed to go to court outside of me. That's how sick this is, and people are still getting away with it. I wasn't allowed to go to court for the criminal activity with my daughter on multiple times, and I wasn't allowed to go to court on this criminal activity on these false arrests. I have never heard of a citizen that someone was so corrupt they took their right away to go to court. I don't know if anyone ever else experienced that besides me. I have never heard of corruption that big to where you would not let the person you were violating go to their own court date. So if I was allowed to be at my court date, I could have communicated that there was criminal activity going on with the DA and multiple parties, but they didn't want me there because they were that corrupt. So they just felt that I was a problem and didn't need to be there. So they just dismissed it, so there would be no evidence of the corruption behind my false arrest. So they just opted out for me not to attend it. So I don't know what else, I understand stalkers do stalker things. And this would be absolutely make a lot of sense to a stalker, but it just gets really unusual when you're able to enlist the government and police department. So then you get a criminal trespass for trying to report identity theft. Then you get arrested for reporting crimes in that support groups. Then you denied your right to go to court on multiple occasions because he just didn't feel I needed to be there. You get put out when you're gone at domestic violence places. That kind of things goes on. So it gets really complicated when the government is able to be enlisted in abuse. I want it to end, and I don't know how long you guys are going to continue to get away with this sickness. Thank you.